This is the Golden Rule Podcast, where the host is always right, even if he doesn't know what he's talking about, which, on this show, is all the time because we don't tell him the topics beforehand. Enjoy!
Welcome to episode 4 of the Golden Rule Podcast, as so eloquently put in the intro. This is the only podcast where the host is always right, but has no idea what he's talking about. And that is me. I am the host, Zeke Sprague, along with my co-hosts, Paul Barnett and Rob Yates. We'll get to them in a second. So the reason is because I don't know what we're talking about today if you haven't tuned into the first 3 episodes. Paul and Rob come up with topics of conversation every episode, do all the research they can, and then I just show up and say whatever comes to my brain. I have no idea what the topics of conversation are, and we will get to those shortly. Rob and Paul, welcome to episode 4.
Hi.
Thanks. Welcome to my house.
Oh, yeah, we are sitting in your basement, so I guess.
It is your house.
But I'm
yeah.
introducing you in the episode, so that's why I'm saying welcome to episode 4. So a brief summary of why this is called the Golden Rule Podcast is because back in the day, I thought I was always right, especially about sports, and Paul and I had an argument about an Eagles game that occurred 4th and 26, a famous Eagles play, and I knew it happened at Lincoln Financial Field. Paul thought it happened in Lambeau. After I was proven right, I said, Paul, golden rule is I'm always right. And from then on, somewhat tongue-in-cheek, but especially back in the day when I was more bullheaded, it definitely thought it was more true that I was always right. So that's the basis of this podcast. I don't know what I'm talking about coming into it, but by the end, the only opinion that matters is mine.
The background story is something like that, but who am I to dispute it?
I was going to say, it seemed a little biased there, but
Yeah, he's always right.
he's always right, so what are you going to do?
So, episode 4, we've had 3 topics so far that I had no idea what were coming toward me. My brain was exhausted by the end of those last 3 episodes. My brain hopefully is fully refreshed now. What do we have for us today?
You want to go? You want to say? You should.
I say it's your turn. I think even episodes are your turn, Paul. So go ahead. Give me this question or topic.
Okay, sounds great. Zeke, man thongs, yes or no?
What the hell? Man thong, yes or no? I mean, for me, it's a no.
Okay.
Me personally.
All right, so that's the initial ruling. We got to know.
No, I mean, I'm saying, yeah. I'm not going to judge anybody that wears these, but I know that I'm not going to wear one anytime soon.
So is that your criteria, like, that you're going for?
No, I mean, we could definitely get more into it, which obviously, hopefully we do. Otherwise, it's going to be a really boring podcast.
As thongs do.
Yes. Oh, God. That's the reason I would never wear one. And also, because, like, what's the purpose? I guess to hide the panty lines, but I don't need to worry about that. I wear blue jeans most of the time. Yeah, man thongs, I guess, like, certain people, certain professions, certain lifestyles of, like, if you're just someone that's really in shape and different countries, cool. If that's what you want to go for, as long as you're not in my general view and sight, because it's not necessarily the back. Like, it's a butt. It's more just like usually there's not much other fabric that is going on besides that.
I mean, I worked at a gym. I've seen some pretty bad butts.
Yeah. Oh, no, I understand. Especially like when you think man thong or Speedo to kind of at least expand the amount of fabric that's on.
Speedos don't expand very much.
Yes, but it's more than a thong.
Speedo. It's more than a thong.
Well, we gave them their new tagline, so good. There you go, Speedo. You're all set. Screw trying to be like athletic and that kind of stuff. Just go straight for the more than a thong advertising campaign. So, like, when you think of, like, you usually think of like a gentleman on a beach in Spain or Italy, and they're wearing a Speedo. And at this point in our lives and history, it's usually an older gentleman. I have also worked in a gym. I've seen plenty of man butt that I didn't want to really ever see. So the people that wear them usually don't have the nicest butts because they're older and they're kind of getting saggy. If you're a Jeff Foxworthy fan, you know the whole, when you get older, you look like Kermit Frog in a pair of pants because you don't have a butt. So the most of the people you would think of wearing these, like I said, are Europeans. So if that's just like part of your culture, I understand it. Cool. But like I said, it's not necessarily the butt. I've seen plenty of old man butt. It's more just once you get around to the front, there's usually not much fabric either because you have nothing to support it in the back. And you're going to see things and part of things that either have to be like groomed or tucked or something I don't want to see. Like the butt it's a butt. I mean, there's a reason the butt of a joke. But
There's a significant difference between a Speedo and a thong, though.
I agree.
Very significant difference.
I agree. But what I was saying with a Speedo, most people that wear Speedos or thongs are in the same group of human beings, I would think.
I don't know about that, but okay.
When it comes to men,
I don't know about that, but okay.
I'm trying not to go into like a whole down a hill or down a hole about different lifestyles and stuff about thongs and man thongs that I don't even want to think about.
Careful with your wording.
I'm trying to be very careful with my wording.
Well, so okay, I'd like to jump in here because
Please do, because I feel like I'm just spiraling out of control.
So one of the things I find interesting is you've been talking about man thongs this whole time, but as someone who is looking at someone else wearing a man thong, right? So I think that
I already told you it's a no-go for me. So then I has to expand, because if it was just Zeke, man thongs, yes or no, and I say not for me, that's the end of the episode. That's really boring.
Well, I understand that, but like you're talking about from the standpoint of like, oh man, I don't want to see another person in a man thong. But I think most people who'd be wearing a man thong wouldn't say like, I wear this so Zeke can see me in the man thong.
Oh no, they wouldn't care at all what I think. They have the confidence and the comfortability that that's what they do and that's who they are, and that is fine. Like, cool, all about it. So I'm gonna avoid those beaches like South Beach or that's fine.
I think a lot of people like you're talking about a Speedo, which is something that you'd wear like out when swimming, but I think a man thong is actually most of the time something you'd wear like you would wear underwear right now, right? Mm-hmm. Like most people aren't going to see that. So like the benefits of that for someone are not the things you're talking about right now. They are like you talked about like the panty lines, but some people might find that more comfortable. Some people might find that there's more support for certain things. Like there's like arguments that can be made in favor. You know what I mean?
Yes. So I understand the support argument. So let's get into that real quick. I think we talked about this on one of the other episodes, maybe, or we just talked about it by ourselves and we're just in conjecture about how I was always a Fruit of the Loom man, right?
Yeah.
My whole life, went to Target, went to Walmart, whatever, went to the Fruit of the Loom aisle, grabbed my favorite boxer briefs, good to go. Hanes comes out with the separators that give you a little extra support and separate man parts from your legs, which is a wonderful invention. Should have been invented a long time ago. How hard was it to put 2 strips of fabric in that part of the underwear? So the support thing I can fully get. I don't see the reason that you don't want to have the rear part of your underwear. It doesn't make sense to me. I mean, it's the same people. Some people don't wear underwear, go commando. I forget what I was watching, but there was a guy that says, yeah, I just haven't worn underwear in forever. And they're like, well, how often do you wash your jeans? And he's like, just the normal amount. It's like, this doesn't make any sense.
I mean, okay, so we can attack this pretty simply for the sake of freedom and like breathability, you know.
For the front, yes.
No, for the back too.
The back too. Yeah,
I could breathability. One, I think you're having less. No, you're having less breathability easily.
How?
Because when you're talking breathability,
yeah,
you're talking about the in between area.
No, not necessarily.
Why do your butt cheeks need to breathe?
Okay, I want to paint a picture. I got this. Okay.
All right, paint the picture, because I the part of your butt that usually I think about breathing is not the cheeks.
You're wearing a normal pair of underwear, right? You got coverage in the back, coverage in the front, right?
Wonderful.
Maybe it's boxers, maybe it's briefs, whatever.
Boxer briefs.
Yeah, boxer briefs.
Option.
Yeah. It's the middle of the summer.
Yeah.
You're like outside watching a baseball game or something. It's sweaty and humid. Your underwear is going to start getting...
I understand.
It's going to pick up moisture. It's going to start twisting and bunching. And all of a sudden, you've got layers of clothing that are rubbing against each other and against you. And there's no way to be comfort. You take the back part of your underwear out. You only got one layer of clothing to deal with back there.
Yes, completely agree with you. But that won't make a difference. Because the part of your butts that usually sweat or have swamp butt, I'm going to avoid the A word for a second, are usually the in-between area. If you see a sweat line on someone's pants, it's usually either the in-between area or the underneath area.
But that doesn't mean
those are the 2 areas that are the otherwise. If I still have jeans on or shorts, okay, maybe that makes sense because you get the draft up it. But if you're wearing pants, so let's ignore the shorts for a second. If you're wearing pants, you're not getting the draft. So you still have fabric on your butt.
Yeah, but you don't have multiple layers of fabric on your butt.
Underwear is so thin, they don't really make a difference.
What are you talking about?
What kind of underwear are you wearing that are thick enough to make a difference on how warm your cheeks are?
Not how it's not the fabric that's making it warm. It's the weather itself, which then causes you to sweat and then impacts all the clothing you're wearing.
Well, and I would argue that the fabric can totally do it too, because if you go and just pick up some like a pack of briefs, it's a t-shirt level thickness of cotton that you're wearing.
Not most of the time. Now, most of the time they're thinner than
100%
t-shirt.
disagree.
No,
because say the most underwear
I would say,
that is sold is just
and
Okay, well,
and
then
even
one, you're buying the wrong underwear. Two, because I know mine, like, if they're very much more stretchy and thinner material than a t-shirt that I would normally wear. Like, the closest thing that a t-shirt would be is maybe like that soft, thinner material, which I know you don't prefer in a t-shirt, Paul. You prefer the thicker when it comes to t-shirts. But underwear, usually it's a thinner material now. It's usually more breathable. Even if you think of old school underwear, like whitey tighties, you can definitely see through whitey tighties more than you can a white t-shirt most of the time.
Disagree. A white undershirt, you can see through them about the
like
same.
right away.
An undershirt, okay.
And it's still
I was thinking a
it's
regular
just,
t-shirt.
It's one layer of cotton fabric.
Which is breathable. Like, cotton is meant to be breathable. That's
It's not
why
that breathable.
if it's really thick, it's not
But
breathable.
you start adding layers. That's what I'm saying, though.
I mean,
It's
you're talking about like swamp butt, right?
yeah.
Like that. Where does that come from?
Usually, so to get back to swamp butt, it usually is underneath the cheeks and in the middle. That's where you see sweat lines.
But why? It's because of the fabric that you're talking about.
Yes, but if you have swamp butt underneath, right,
Yeah.
you're still going to have fabric there when you're sitting, unless it's shorts. So shorts, maybe I'll accept. But the other main part of swamp butt is right down the middle, and you just took the most breathable part of underwear because there's no underwear in that middle part where the swamp butt is one of its two main areas, and just put a piece of fabric right up there.
So here's what I would say is it sounds like your argument is I don't agree with your argument, but it sounds like you're saying like if you have more fabric around your whole midsection or like your crotchal region.
No, all right, so I'm talking the crack, the back.
Oh, no, I understand that, but like when you have lots of fabric in that area, it's going to trap heat more than if you just have some fabric in that one area. Like the whole area overall will be more
Are we talking
warm.
about so we're talking about the front and the back.
Just everything, right?
Okay,
Like if you
so
have underwear, like it's gonna trap that heat more than a man
and
thong
for the
would.
front, I can understand that because the front is, if you have just a man thong, it's just like supported, and you're not. I've never worn one, so I don't know. But I'm assuming from visual cues of a man thong that you would be supported, and there would be no fabric to either side of the area. So you would have breathability in between your legs in the front. I still think the main problem with swamp butt in the back is most of the sweat comes from the middle area. So you're shoving a piece of fabric right up that middle area where most of that sweat comes from. It's not going to be much better when you have all of a sudden
Do you not?
fabric.
Yeah, well,
I really wish y'all
so-
could see my hand motions right now.
So
We're putting the next season on video. That's all I'm
I
saying.
agree with you if you were already like full swamp butt and then you put on a man thong. But like as far as like getting to that point, I feel like having full blown underwear on would actually cause that to happen more than a man thong would.
I would say, yeah, so that, but also one of the things that you talked about at the beginning of the episode, the innovations in underwear that you like, right?
Yes.
Is now you have fabric that sort of separates things.
Yeah, because
right?
that's the worst part of being warm down there. Is
what exactly
when
does a thong do?
it separates, but but in the front. I said I understand the front part of it. It's the back part.
It
What's-
separates the cheeks,
It
man.
does, man.
but it still has the piece of fabric up in those cheeks.
Yeah.
But it separates
So
them.
if it gets warm down back there, you're still going to have the fabric to sweat onto.
So I'd like to take
It doesn't. No, here's the deal. No, when you're talking about separating your cheeks, there's no way a piece of fabric could separate the two largest pieces of muscle in your body. Can you separate something that just kind of hangs off the front of you? Yes, that is easy enough to support and separate. You are not separating the two largest muscles in your body with a piece of fabric.
I guess you've never worn a thong then.
It doesn't keep them separate. It squishes them. There's no way like that it separates them.
What part of a thin piece of fabric going between two chunks of muscle would make you think that it's not separating them?
Because it's going to push the fabric together. Unless you just don't have a butt whatsoever. Like, you literally have to sit down and like wiggle to separate. Or like sit on a toilet to separate. And you have to force it to happen. you're not putting a small piece of fabric up there that's going to push these two muscles apart. Like, that's impossible.
Okay, I'd like to again take this in a slightly different direction, which I think might get us to a place where you can make your final ruling. So you have been very adamant about the way in which you think, or the way in which you prefer your underwear.
Yeah. Because it's like the most important piece of clothing. Because otherwise, if you're uncomfortable down there, it doesn't matter.
If you're uncomfortable down there, for anybody, I think it's rough going. But the question was not man thongs good or bad, right or wrong for Zeke.
I know.
They were just in general, right? So there are different body shapes and body sizes. Yeah. People who get
at this table, there are different body shapes, right? So my whole life, I've had comments, especially since I worked in fitness membership sales, about my butt. I've always had a larger butt. I played catcher my whole life.
That'll do it.
Yeah. So, and then Paul has a broader shoulder type than I do, but doesn't have much of a.
You've been
butt.
Looking at Paul's butt?
I mean, I've known him for 15 years or whatever. We've been friends. So it's
we
like.
oft compare butts.
Like you do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I know other people have different preferences and maybe it would affect different people more. And like I said, if that's what they're comfortable with and that's what makes them comfortable on a daily basis, I'm cool with that. I just don't see it from, you said man thongs. Mm-hmm. Unless you care about how the lines of your underwear on you, like seeing because that's a lot of the reasons women wear thongs in dresses or pants or whatever, is so they don't have the lines to like interrupt the way the pants look. Most men don't wear, there are some, that's why I said most. Most men don't wear pants that are tight enough to where you could notice those lines. Right now, there's no way any of the three of us are wearing pants that are that tight. There was a time in my life, because they didn't start making stretchy fabric for men's clothes yet, there was plenty of pants I had that were tight around my butt because it's larger.
A little bit of junk in the trunk.
Yeah. That I did have some tighter pants, and I was like, oh, look at my thigh. You can see the line of the bottom of my boxer brief. So I can understand maybe you don't want people to see that. But now that there's stretchy material in men's jeans and clothes, there's like most of the time men are not wearing pants that are tight enough where you're going to see those lines. So I just don't see the purpose of it. But
stretchy pants, I mean, the point of stretchy pants is so that, like, you know, when you sit down or whatever, when you're walking around, like, they flex as you move.
Yeah, I understand. I'm a big fan of them in the thighs.
Like, by definition, they're pretty much not baggy when you're walking around with them. If you have like a pair of Lululemon pants, like, you know, they're pretty expensive, but like pretty thin fabric, right?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of cases where a man thong could be useful for a guy. Totally. I also just want to throw this out there. I think we would be remiss if we did not bring this up in this conversation. A man thong can enhance the look of a certain area.
Oh, yes.
Multiple
I said, support.
Yeah.
Support. Here's the other thing. So I don't want to go too far off this topic of conversation. How do men wear briefs, or not briefs? How do men wear boxers and put their pants on? Can someone please explain this to me? This is the reason I never wear boxers. Just real quick. Because you have to pull your pants up and then tuck your underwear down. Like, that just seems annoying.
It's the reverse of a man thong.
It is. It sounds awful to me. Like, when I was a kid, we all had the Spider-Man briefs. And then as I got older, I moved into boxer briefs, which I don't understand how people wear anything besides those at this point, but that's just personal opinion. But like, how do you wear boxers and have to tuck them every time you pull your pants up? That just sounds so annoying to me. But I guess, like you said, it's the complete opposite of man thong. You definitely don't have to tuck in. Well, you don't. I was gonna say you don't have to tuck anything if you're wearing a man thong, but there's definitely one thing you definitely have to.
So what you're saying then really is that the man thong would probably be the most convenient underwear. On the opposite end of the spectrum of boxers.
Until you go to the bathroom and like,
I don't see how that's different than boxer briefs.
Because it's up there. So like, you try to avoid skid marks as much as you can in your underwear, right? And you try to avoid them and you hope that it doesn't happen. But like, there's no way that if you have a piece of fabric all the way up there, unless you're like Paul, who has invested in bidets in his toilets, that like, you might get a skid mark on that part of your underwear, and that just seems
you keep saying like all the way up there, and I'm thinking you're wearing like
I've never worn a thong.
No,
How
but
would I know?
Like the way you're describing it is like you would buy like a thong that's like 2 sizes too small, and it's just like whoop, like it's all like.
So what's the purpose of having a thong if it's not like close to your body? Like, so it's just like a little piece of fabric that's just hanging out back there, like being annoying.
It'd be
like
in there,
moving
but
from
it's
side
not like
to side.
it's not like it's inside of you. Like
I understand that, but like I said, I've never worn a thong. I don't know how far they go.
I mean, I'm
just like, if you have a flatter butt, maybe it doesn't go as far. But if you have a larger butt, I would assume like it does travel somewhat into.
Well, yeah, but it also has further to go if you have a larger butt. You know what I mean? Like,
yes,
your butt is
true.
the start of your butt is farther away from your body, I guess.
Yes.
Is the way to put that.
Yeah, the part that's the most dirty, it would be further away, I'm assuming, from the furthest muscle part of it.
I hear you talking, and you've raised some good points, but like, you're also making a lot of good points in favor of man thongs.
I'm not saying I'm not in favor of other people wearing them. I'm just trying to understand why they wear them.
I think you've made a lot of good points in favor of them, in addition to what Paul and I have said.
It just doesn't seem comfortable. Like,
You've never worn one.
And I don't plan on it. I'm glad I don't get information on these topics of conversation, because how else would I have prepared for it? How did you two prepare for this? Did y'all go find one, or you just kind of?
I'm wearing one right now.
Oh, okay.
No.
I don't think Rob is
You wanna
definitely
see?
not a man thong person.
You want no, but I think like you're gonna have to make a ruling here in a little bit, and I think the question has to become like you just brought up how like boxers are probably the most inconvenient thing, so it's like
the only time you wear boxers, if you're in my mind, is if you're trying to have a child, and it helps with, since there's looseness there, it helps with sperm production. Outside that, doesn't make any sense to me. Going commando as a male makes zero sense.
This
to me.
seems dangerous.
It does.
I disagree with that.
Really?
What?
During the summer, it's great.
But okay, no.
Or when you're at home and like you're in sweatpants, it's great.
Okay, I can see an argument for when
First
you're
off,
home.
you said summer, and that's the worst time to go commando, because that's when the sticky situation happens that we
Not if
talked
you're
about.
like your
Breathability. We talked about updrafts and shorts and that kind of stuff.
Yes,
it's
but
fantastic.
it's still going to hit your leg.
It's a breath of fresh air.
I never want that part of my body to touch my leg. Like, that's just not anything. That's why I love the separators in the Hanes. This is going to be a commercial for
millions
Hanes
of
new
years
underwear.
of human evolution just to wear underwear. It's awesome. Love it.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Like, this is like developments of science.
privates touch my legs.
It's awful, especially when it's warm
gross.
outside.
Well, but you bring up a good point, Paul. Like, I feel like there are situations when different types of underwear or lack of underwear are appropriate and beneficial.
So the closest thing I've ever worn to a man thong as a catcher when I was younger, before they came out with sliding shorts that had a cup in it, is a jock strap, which is a man thong with 2 stripes in the back, one on each cheek. Because the front is pretty much a man thong, because it's just like literally.
Yeah.
And because of the cup, it is fairly supportive. But if it didn't have the cup in it, it would not be supportive. But I'm guessing the man thong has.
That's
more
not
like,
how they're designed.
Yeah.
I know. So
That's not how a jockstrap is designed.
I understand it's just for like protection, but I
Comfort is not a priority
No.
there.
No, not at all. Catcher was a terrible position.
But with
for
a
that
man
reason.
thong, it is a priority.
Yes. How am I supposed to know? And I don't know if I ever want to know.
I mean, you might need to do some personal
No.
research and we do another
No.
episode
Some soul
later
searching.
on. Yeah. It just, okay, I'm just going to be honest with you. It sounds like the one hang-up you have is some fabric in your butt crack.
Yes. Because if it's not here's the thing. If it's not in the butt crack, it's moving a lot back there in my mind, because it's just a small piece of fabric, and that would get annoying. But if it is staying still in the butt crack, I feel like that's the ideal situation, because the support stays the same. It doesn't vary because it's in a solid spot. But if it gets too close, I just don't know what's holding it back from getting too close.
Were you afraid it's going to get sucked in?
No, not sucked in.
Where did
but
it go?
Pressed up against it, like.
Okay, look, I think we're getting close where you're going to have to make a ruling.
I know
here.
you keep saying this ruling thing.
Because you have to.
I know
but
that's my
you
point is-
need to. I think you need to do some soul searching in the next couple minutes, and I think you really need to look at not just what you would want.
I've said that from the beginning that it's not for me,
No,
but I would understand.
You're going to have to decide for everybody because you're making this ruling. Sometimes these rulings, carry a lot of weight, and you have to decide. Is it a good thing for everybody? Or is it a bad thing for everybody?
Yeah.
Could it?
You're making a universal ruling.
Yeah.
That's why we're coming
make
to
any
you.
sense. I know that. I know the whole entire point of the show is for me to make a ruling that everybody needs to abide by that ruling, because I'm always right.
That's correct.
Okay. Here's
this is the weight
problem
of the
with-
job. Like that's
like, all right, so previous episodes, let's flash back. Please don't make that the title of this episode. That would not
Flash black.
that would not look good on the screen when they're going through our episodes. The first episode, best picnic food. I feel like I could make a universal decision for everybody there. I feel like I did. I feel like it was perfect.
I mean, you said sandwiches, and there are people who are gluten free that
would
There's
completely disagree.
gluten-free bread. We're good. And if you're keto, you can make a
forget people like me. Then, right?
yes. Forget
Yeah,
you, Paul.
Okay.
You can still make a sandwich of sorts. Wow, we didn't even get. How did we not get into that after I brought up sandwiches when you said when you're keto this whole time? You didn't even come into it. Anyways, that's a whole nother episode.
Because I'm willing to suspend my own judgment. I'm waiting for your judgment.
Okay. Second episode, steroids and baseball. I feel like okay, I made a universal judgment. The sentient robot thing, who knows? But I can make a universal judgment. This is a very personal type of preference thing. I'm all about the boxer briefs and having the separation. Paul's over here talking about in the summertime sweatpants and
Not sweatpants in the summertime. Come on.
Well, if you're sitting at home, you have air conditioning. Why would you not put sweatpants on?
what?
I mean,
During the summer?
If you have the air conditioning pumped down to like 69, 70 degrees, why not?
Because 69, 70 degrees is like normal temperature. And I don't put my air conditioner much lower than that.
I understand that. Most people put it like 72.
No, athletic shorts, because it's warm outside. And even then, athletic shorts, I'm fine going commando.
Okay.
Because it's
So, all right,
comfortable.
back to Paul and this whole commando thing with athletic shorts. One, I would never wear commando with athletic shorts because if I sit down the wrong way, I don't need anybody to have to see that.
Around my own house, Zeke.
I understand that. So, if I'm making a universal ruling for every person in the world,
Yes, you
if
are.
I said, yes, man thongs are good, you can wear them. If I say no, that means no person, if my ruling stands for the whole world, no one is allowed to wear man thongs for the rest of time
That's
unless
correct.
something changes in the world that makes them necessary.
yes.
Mhm.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
This is a stupid idea for a
Heavy
podcast.
is the butt that wears the thong.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. If you don't have a good butt, why are you? Like I said, it's not about visuals. I understand, I guess.
You know,
Well, it's not always about
we
visuals,
are
but
4
sometimes it is.
episodes in. I did not think man thongs would be the thing to break Zeke.
Well, the sentient robots almost did. But then once we understood what sentience was and you looked up the definition, we got there. How would man thongs not break me, Rob? They would break me right between the... Like they
Wait,
say,
wait, I
I'm
thought-
going to
I
kick you
thought-
where the good Lord split you.
I thought you said it doesn't do any separation.
Doesn't.
Okay, so why you? It's
You're not. It's not going to
yeah.
split anything.
Yeah.
I said break. I didn't say split.
Pretty sure you said split.
Where the good Lord split you. It's already split there. But it comes together. Like when I'm sitting right now, it's together. Like, so the thong will do absolutely nothing. It'll just get pushed up there.
I think the only way that you're going to know that is if you know.
You got to
No,
try
I know
it.
that
Try
right
one
now.
on.
Unless it's like a cord of sort, like a round cord. There's no way a little piece of fabric is when I'm sitting down is going to stay outside of that area.
Well, I also think like you
Or
keep
separate
describing it as a little piece of fabric. I mean, there's a good chance that you don't even notice it at all.
A good thong, yeah.
Yeah.
You might not know.
Then what's the? I don't know. I,
Oh,
mean,
but
I don't notice
barely
Until
there.
we started having this conversation, I didn't notice I was wearing underwear. Like I didn't think, oh, I'm wearing underwear right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're already comfortable enough. So the only reason I can keep coming up with is if you're trying to hide your if you have big thighs or wear tight pants and you don't want people to see like the outline of the bottom of your boxer briefs.
That's a good point. Yeah.
But if you're wearing briefs, you'd have to have really tight pants on your butt to see those. And like most here's the thing, I keep wanting to go to certain but I can't. Most men don't wear pants that are tight enough on their butt unless they're me before the invention of athletic cut pants.
I think you might be discounting how many men wear tighter pants or fashionable pants.
I was one that wore those, but I was forced to because they didn't make athletic cut pants yet.
Sure, but I think to this, like today, a lot of people do wear pants like that.
I think 10 years ago, I think you were right. I don't think as many men do now. Even in certain groups
Wait, you
that
don't think as
wear,
many men do what now?
wear tighter pants.
Oh my gosh!
I think fabric has gotten way tighter compared to like the 90s and stuff when they had like
Absolutely.
lead
No,
pipes
I
and
didn't say,
Jinko
I
jeans.
didn't say 90s. I said 10 years ago. Now, will that fashion come back? Yeah, probably.
Well, but
But in the early 2000s, when they had skinny jeans are not gone now. The people that are especially still into like emo, punk rock, whatever, they probably still wear them. But not nearly as many men wear skinny jeans as we did 10 years ago.
Sure, but there's tons of men who wear dress pants or are doing stylish, fashionable type of dressing.
I understand.
And those are tighter just by
when I worked
their
in
very
high-end
nature.
fashion, those were the pants that I had to get that did not want to expand anywhere past my thighs.
Right, and so I'm sure they would enjoy a nice man thong. Or it might they could. They might like
be a strong option.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I know my thoughts at the end of this already. I'm just trying to explain to you why I don't understand it. I feel like there's going to be plenty. We went through 3 topics of conversation. There's a topic of conversation where I have an idea at the beginning. We're going to talk about it through the whole entire thing. It's going to end that way, right? And I'm going to have a good understanding of it. There's going to be topics of conversation where like things develop as we talk through these podcasts, and I have no idea by the end, and we reverse it, or there's going to be topics you bring up, and that was the steroid one. I had an option when we first started talking, and by the end I changed. And then there's going to be stuff I have no idea. Like when you guys said, will robots become sentient? I had no idea what sentient exactly meant until we read the definition. This topic of conversation, I understand it. I have my opinion on it, but I'm not going to understand why other people feel the way they do about it. And I probably never will. So this whole entire podcast so far has been me trying to figure out why someone would want to wear these and trying to comprehend it. So if my thought I had at the beginning will follow through to the end. And that's kind of where I am. I don't know if that made any sense to anybody. But I had my idea at the beginning for myself, which was I have no reason to ever wear a man thong.
And that's fine.
Yes. And then I had the idea of like, there are people that enjoy them. There's nothing wrong with that. Cool. If that's what you want, I don't understand why. And I'm sure you could explain to me why. It just wouldn't go along with my thoughts.
Well, I also think that it seems like you value certain qualities in the underwear that you wear that a man thong does not align with. Like the benefits of a man thong are different than what you want in underwear.
The one quality that I do value now in underwear, I think actually because before this invention of little pieces of fabric to separate legs to thigh, I'd pull up the underwear and I'd do a little tuck. Try to get fabric in between there, especially on hot days or I'm about to start playing baseball. And one of the cool things about if you wore a cup playing catcher, sometimes it was naturally there and you didn't have to worry about doing the tuck. So I understand that part of it, man thong, and that's awesome. I mean, maybe wearing a man thong underneath another pair of underwear would be a great option if you didn't have the new modern technology. So you have the support. But the back doesn't make any sense to me because I feel like it's completely useless except for the whole, I keep on saying panty lines, underwear lines that you have.
But isn't that useful?
Not for me. I mean, maybe it would have been useful now that I think about it 7 years ago when I was wearing dress pants to work every day and they didn't come out with any cuts that fit a human being that had athletic thighs and glutes.
So
I still would have felt I don't know, awkward. Not awkward, but
well, because
no one else knows, so what's the point?
Exactly. You keep it seems like you wouldn't do it, or it's not something you're used to. But you keep making points in favor for the man thong, right? Am I wrong there, Paul?
No, I think you're right. Yeah.
I mean, I think we're getting pretty close to.
And I think that's because I can understand if you find them comfortable and you want to not have lines in your pants. You wear pants that are tighter. I gotcha. I understand to that extent why you would want to wear them. So yeah, why not? Why wouldn't you wear them if that's what you like, if that's what you find comfortable and you want to be fashionable and maybe you do have a nice butt, so you want your pants to perfectly outline it. And you don't want any interruptions. I mean, I feel like that's the same reason women wear them, right?
Yeah.
From what I know. So yeah, why not? But also there are underwear now that are seam free that kind of just are next to your butt that don't have any, where you can't see the seams. So why not just wear those? But yeah, so if we're getting to my final ruling, does anybody else have anything they want to add before I get to my final ruling about these man thong situation?
No, I think I'm good.
I mean, you've made all my points for me.
Yeah.
If that's what you're comfortable with and that's what you want for your fashion reasons, or if you're a professional bodybuilder, because that's the only other time I've ever seen a man thong, yeah, why not? Just do it. Why does it matter what is comfortable for somebody else if you want to wear a man thong? As we already said, no one is usually going to see the fact you're wearing a man thong. So if it's comfortable for you, wear it. That's my golden rule. I mean, as long as you don't have to walk in front of me in the gym and make me see it, I'm good.
But so just to succinctly answer this question, the original question was man thongs, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes or no? It's yes.
Yeah, like they should still be produced. I'm never going to wear one. But yes, they should
Okay,
still
but
be.
it is yes.
Yes, it's yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
that's the golden rule for today's. Put in the golden rule book. Man thongs, yes. Like just literally that succinct sounds great. Because otherwise, I feel like it's just too much of an explanation.
Well, I also do want to point out that the lovely innovation you keep talking about in your underwear might not exist
If it wasn't for
if it weren't for man thongs.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so I guess I owe something to Man Thongs. So thank you, Man Thongs, for giving me the innovation that I have in my boxer briefs now. So the golden rule, Man Thongs, yes, put in the golden rule book. And as we like to say at the end of every Golden Rule podcast episode, please try to live by the real golden rule of treat everybody with love and respect and as you want to be treated, especially if they think they're always right.
Thanks for listening to the show. Hosted by Zeke Sprague, anchored by Rob Yates and Paul Barnett. Produced by Paul for Razorpig Productions. If you like it, be sure to subscribe and leave a positive rating. If you don't, thanks for listening all the way through anyway. Have a good one.